Hello, my name is Balfour Santebedi. This is my media critical reflection on my short film Opening Dope, centered on the main character Eric, who was influenced to do drugs at a younger age, affecting him badly. That notwithstanding, he sells some to two of his friends, Chris and Richard, causing them to be negatively affected and end up imprisoned. How does my product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? The film begins with a long-shot view of the neighboring community around Eric's house, which is effective as the impression that he is from a privileged family is conveyed to the audience. The dark orange wall in Eric's room and the lighting in Eric's room in the film's beginning, including the disorganized arrangements of his belongings scattered all around his room, signifies the negative implications of his drug consumption that has made him a different person. For he mucks about a lot, involves himself in illegalities like robberies and overspeeding. Thus, these elements were effective in conveying the impression that he has lost his organizational skills and core values and principles despite his background. Another convention used is lively music. It's effective, for it is used to signify a sense of happiness in Eric about meeting his friends and the thought of making money from the drug deal which he is to extract with them. It was also used effectively to create suspense in the audience due to the impression of his two friends getting into trouble as a result of the effects associated with the drugs subsequently. Cross-cutting was used between when he gets the bag with the drug and gets in the car and drives to the meeting spot to convey a sense of urgency to transact the deal rapidly before and without getting caught by the police. The social issue of high drug abuse and the act's negative implications is to a large degree represented through our film by depicting the theme of criminality. For drug abuse, often, according to research, results in consumers participating in illegalities they would not normally participate in, including robberies, rape, acting high, and overspeeding. Drug abuse is an issue of global significance and relevance presently and has been for quite some time. The youth and adolescents are often influenced to do drugs and mostly affected by the act, as it is particularly prevalent among them. It affects them with regard to many aspects of their lives, academically and socially, among others, for they often get disoriented and are unwilling to interact or focus on their academic work nor socialize, but consume their drugs and often get angry if they are provoked or if they have not consumed the drugs, as well as causes them to do things like overspeed, which they will not normally do, and get arrested, among some implications. Since this is particularly prevalent among the youth on a global scale, the implication is often to people who are often thought to be good and innocent, for they are often influenced into doing drugs, which eventually lands them in prison, although they do not belong there. This is portrayed through the theme of friends who are lawful, innocent, and meet up and have fun. Then things get off on a totally different turn when they purchase and consume drugs from a friend. The film represents teenagers through youthful characters, since the issue is prevalent among them, as well as the film was shot, scripted, and developed by a youthful director and producer. By centering our film around this prevalent issue, we aim to convey the implications of their act to the youth, particularly, and try to persuade as many as possible to abstain due to drug consumption's ability to damage one's life in many diverse ways by increasing awareness informatively and getting authoritative organizations to reduce the implications of the issue by implementing policies or solutions to resolve it, which will save many, particularly the youth, from losing their bright future prospects. Establishing shots in the beginning of the film were used to show the audience the area in which the protagonist, Eric, lives in, which is a high-class community in Accra, Ghana. This is effective in conveying the impression that he's from a privileged background. Other conventions of the film's theme include youth issues, peer pressure, particularly among the youth, to do things they will not usually do. The stereotype representation of the wealthier youth group doing drugs and being involved in criminal activities at a higher rate than older and poorer global citizens respectively is conveyed. Hence the use of our African male casts who appear to come from affluent Ghanaian communities. This to me was an effective convention, as it portrays the fact that rich and privileged youth globally are hit the hardest by drug abuse. For Eric in particular is seen leaving his story-building home in his grey 4-wheel drive and speaking on his iPhone with his friend Chris. Richard in particular is seen smartly dressed with Chris wearing his Air Forces. This does not project the living standard of the average citizen in Ghana who consumes drugs, nor the typical African lead film. Another way in which we challenged conventions was at the scene in which Eric was leaving his home driving to the botanical garden. Usually in shots like that, an adult would have been used. The plan was to get an adult to act as Eric, particularly due to that scene, as well as to drive the car, but at the time of planning, other potential adults were unavailable, for they were all teaching. Thus, a teenager played that role. Additionally, since the person used could not drive, but a sense of him driving to the meeting spot had to be conveyed, a quick shot of a teacher getting into the car with his hand opening the door, then wearing his seatbelt rapidly, and his hands on the steering wheel while driving was used. My film follows many of the social cliches of high school popularity through the way in which the two friends, Chris and Ralph's faces, lit up and interact with Eric when he brings the drugs, which represents his popularity among his school friends. Conventions was challenged additionally through the use of the iPhone for the production of our short film, rather than a use of a Canon camera, for instance, for the shoots, as it is normally done for film productions. Firstly, the school's camera was unavailable, and we did not have any working capital to purchase or rent a new one on the spot. Hence, we decided to improvise and make do with the iPhone camera at our disposal. For despite this varying from production shoot norms, it was effective due to the relatively high camera quality of the iPhone. Another way in which conventions was challenged was through our usage of the free editing software Wondershare Filmora 9. For we did not use any advanced editing software, for my teammate and I are amateur editors, so do not have the requisite knowledge and skills for those software usage, nor did we have the required capital once again to pay for such software. Contrarily, however, Filmora was free and easier to use, for it enabled us to place the film content on the assembly line through logging and then edit, and compile the selected shots in a preferred way with regard to the removal of sounds and the sound alignment to the expected shot content. Another way in which the film challenged conventions is through the use of the audio to convey the respective effects, fear of damage in Richard and Chris with regard to their future during the arrest. For there was quite a lot of sound within the background that we did not want to be heard at that particular shot. For we felt the use of the non-diegetic sound were more effective in conveying the implied meaning and feeling with regard to the arrest, rather than providing the naturally associated sound of them saying what is happening, for example, in that shot. Additionally, the use of the sound of birds perching in the opening scene and the whirling sound of the wind when the producer focuses on the trees in Eric's house is effective, including the use of the cockerel in the opening scene too, for they are effective as they aim to create a sense of the love for community nature among residents and convey the impression that success only comes in the morning, so our protagonist Eric will rapidly take steps to gain all the possible opportunities available early. We aim to portray the impression that the main character, Eric, was from a privileged background, just enjoying life with his friends as a result, with a desire to make his own money regardless of how it must be done. Hence his iPhone use. In addition to the shots of him quickly leaving home, driving in his car to the botanical gardens for a drug deal to avoid getting caught with his bag containing the substances. Effectively used to portray our aim theme as privileged youth are often faced with the issue and aim to do such deals rapidly for riches, but try their best not to get caught to avoid arrest. Eric's bedroom is messy, representing how his drug consumption has negatively impacted him. Since the film comprises of many rough ends, as well as due to the music, our audience remain glued to their screens due to a desire to know what will happen next, particularly towards the latter end of the film, causing them to speculate on future film events. How does my media product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as a real media text? Our dope film will be distributed to the final consumer through online streaming platforms like YouTube and Netflix. It will later be promoted to most popular film streaming platform, Netflix, in addition, for a hope of it being distributed to the final consumer through the platform. For Netflix have 222 million subscribers with 75% youthful subscribers. Thus, they are likely to find it attractive and appealing, for the film highlights relatable issues to them, gradually resulting in an increased awareness and high viewing in the long term. These online streaming platforms will enable viewers, thanks to the emergence of the digital era and Web2 technologies, to stream the film content on the platform using their black box devices remotely from home or while on the go, rather than having to pay to go to view the film in outhouse distribution hubs like the cinema, among others, including through other online platforms like uTorrent that enable users to download, store, and stream the film on and from their black box devices whenever they want offline. This has become the new normal globally due to the current global COVID-19 pandemic, increasing my confidence of high viewing this way as a result. The film is to be promoted through the use of a mix of both above and below the line methods of advertising. The posters and trailers will be posted on platforms like Twitter and Instagram, including YouTube, to increase brand awareness and attract high numbers of viewers. As a result, since many across the globe will see the content, be made aware about the film, which will increase brand awareness in the long run thanks to its attractive content and storyline, as well as visuals and audio that will appeal to a wide range of people across the globe. The trailer will be posted on YouTube and on our Instagram and Snapchat stories, respectively, to gain mass attention and traffic for the film. In addition, a fan page will be set up on Instagram with identified users who have an interest in crime-related films, identified through algorithms, where we'll also post the trailer and snippets of different scenes like the opening shot and the ending shot to create a sense of confusion and a desperate desire for the audience to know the film's content and the other consequent scenes. Leaflets will be posted on the fan page and sent directly to people who are thought to have an interest in the film's genre, thus making the campaign targeted in this regard, as a mass section of the total audience population will not be made aware about the film with regard to these elements, but rather a segment of it. How did my production skills develop throughout this project? I developed my editing, script writing, and confidence skills, including team working skills, throughout this project. My script and editing skills developed as I wrote and designed the dope film scripts and storyboard respectively, after my teammates and I had agreed on the film's concept, and I had an idea of the storyline. I developed my editing skills when I edited parts of the film content using Wondershare Filmora 9 and Format Factory respectively, and my photography skills when I used the iPhone to capture all the behind-the-scenes shots using tilts, close-up, panning, zoom in and out, and the many other camera movements, shots, and angles, just to mention a few, which I had not done to a large degree before the project's execution. My initiative, confidence, and team working skills developed during the course of this project, for as the director, upon realizing that we lacked a bedroom and a living room to shoot the shots of our protagonist Eric in the opening scene and the subsequent living room scene before he left home, I had to rapidly assess the props available and suggest messing up the sickbay bed and room by placing rubber bags and other items there in different sections of the room, then using the library and rearranging the chairs to create a living room environment for the respective scenes. As the director, additionally, I coordinated with the producer and the cast to ensure that the film was shot in conformance to the blueprint, and when necessary, corrected the task and asked for a reshoot. My time management and organizational skills developed too, as my teammate and I set deadlines for project tasks, which we met to enable the film be produced and completed promptly. I also learned that it's vital to take a key number of shots of the same shots so that when the different scene shots are placed on the assembling line, the best ones can be selected, trimmed, and pieced together to fit perfectly into play and convey the expected effects. How did you incorporate technology, software, hardware, and online? To produce the film, an iPhone 12 Pro Max and a tripod were used, for we felt the camera quality was clear and high definition, but we felt the use of a camera may have made it better. An iPhone 8 was used for behind-the-scenes shots. Online tools like the web browser, Firefox, and the search engine Google was used when my teammates and I were researching about the crime, effects, genre, conventions, and the global severity with regard to my film's topic, drug consumption. Brass and gloomy music was trimmed from a section of a song downloaded online and used to convey the sense of depression and uneasiness in Richard and Chris during the arrest, and to convey a sense of trouble occurring subsequently in the scene where they are seen purchasing the drugs from Eric. The film shots were transferred from the iPhone 12 Pro Max to the laptop through AirDrop. To edit our film, the editing software Wondershare Filmora 9 was used on the computers. It enabled us to arrange our shots in an orderly manner, which conformed to the storyboard shot arrangements, and align the respective sound to the conforming shots, as well as trim unwanted visual and audio content from our shots, in addition to adding titles, transitions, and credits. Lastly, the finished product was exported into a media format, an MP4, that made it compatible with Media Player and VLC into our work area. Then, it was saved in our work area and subsequently uploaded onto our YouTube channels for awareness. For since YouTube is accessed by almost everyone globally, it was believed that the platform will attract high viewings for our film due to its far outreach. The link was then embedded into our media studies blogs on the platform WordPress online.